everybody. Welcome to Randy Sands and the Mediumship Crew. Hope you guys are having a great evening. And tonight's topic is, are you living the life that you want to live, reaching your goals? And if not, why? And before we get started, I'd like to remind everybody, please hit the subscribe and the bell button if you want to be if you want to get notification of our future content. And you can always watch these, or if you have a friend or something, they can always watch them on YouTube later. So to get started with the topic, I was talking to a couple of people this week, and they just weren't overly happy about where their life was at. And it got me thinking about the difference in the way my life used to be and where it is today. Not saying that I'm all that, because we all have our journey. It's just, hopefully as we're walking our journey, we learn a few things along the way. And in the past, I allowed everything to be an obstacle for me. Whether it was work and the demands of work, whether I don't have kids, so that was out, whether it was the animals I had, whatever it was, whether it was lack of funding, whether it was listening to people and their negativity, what have you, there was always obstacles. And I found that I was that hamster in the wheel that was spinning and spinning, and my life really wasn't changing much. Has any of you guys experienced that at any point?
Yeah. Definitely. I think everybody goes through that.
And I think we go through it in cycles too, as we're progressing. And, sometimes you take 2 steps forward and 1 step back to take 3 forward. So what I did is I decided at some point that I was just going to be determined to hit and achieve my goals, to have the life I wanted to live. I wasn't going to listen to what people say. I wasn't going to allow negativity or, allow people's views of what I should be doing or how I should be doing it affect what I knew I should be doing, if that makes sense. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to open the floor up really quick. Later on, we'll get into how I started setting goals and making them work. But I figured what we could do is we could, talk a little bit about everybody's experiences where, maybe they were the hamster in the wheel, and, what made them realize they needed to do something different.
Did you freeze, Randy?
I don't think so.
Oh, no. You were waiting for a response?
Yeah.
Okay.
I wanted to open the floor and, let everybody kind of talk about where in their life they were the hamster in the wheel and what made them realize they needed to get out of it.
Well, I think, like you said, I think when we're younger that we see everything as an obstacle, and we don't, a lot of times we'll, rather than move forward in something that might be uncomfortable. I believe now that people, places, and things are put into our path to help us grow. And if we're at home just settling for what we're doing on a daily basis, a lot of us getting into the grind of getting up in the morning, going to work, coming home, eating dinner, watching some TV, and going to sleep. And there's no way that you're going to meet that person, place, or thing that's going to move you ahead on where you're to go. And I think it's just real important to get out there, even though you may not feel like it. A lot of times people get depressed and they tend to stay in their house then. and they need mostly to get up and get out so that they can meet those people that are to help them along or guide them.
I agree. Anyone else?
Well, I'd also think that it right now, with the way things are and people not being able to go out and meet people or um, you don't really have any kind of fellowship physically right now. So I think this kind of stuff, especially, and meeting people online of like mind is very helpful. It was very helpful for me.
Anyone else?
No. I'm finding like, with things being the way they are right now, finding like I'm the kind of person that likes to keep going and keep doing things. So this has been very difficult because there's not a lot of things to keep going and keep doing. And I do live alone. I mean, I have my dog, so I've been doing a lot more walking, but earlier today after I watched your video about talking about what we were going to discuss, one of the things that ran through my head was a lot of times I just don't have a clue what I want out of life and whether or not I'm satisfied. Like right now I'm kind of like content with where I am for the most part, but there's these little messages that come through that, it could be better, it could be more or something, I don't know. I stayed in my past apartment for over 20 years and I was not in any desire to move, but I think universe put things in my path to make it possible for me to move. And through that move and getting into a new place, now I've been here a year, I got rid of a lot of stuff. And I still feel like I have too much. And it's like, I'm kind of like content in a way, but then there's part of me that wants more out of life, such as like I've discussed with Tammy, I'd like to be out in the country and be, not in this busy city life, but financially, I don't see it possible. And at this stage of my life, could I be a homeowner? I've never owned a home before, so I have all those little thoughts of, can I do it if I wanted to do it? And then, like I said a little while ago, it's like, sometimes I just have no idea, what I want. Like I've done some of these things, where do the Q process, doing the Q process is you take a look at your life and, go into these, deep-seated things, beliefs, whatever, and change the way you are. And I don't know, when I got into doing that kind of stuff, a lot of times I find myself like, I just don't know. I don't know, and it's like, then how to express that I don't know. I don't know. I have difficulty with that. Like, I've been doing a 7-day meditation challenge, and every day in the morning and at night meditating and getting okay with just being still. And I don't know, it feels pretty good. But at the same time, there's that little voice in there that says you're not getting still enough. I don't know.
Don't rush it.
Yeah, right. I'm glad you brought some of this up, because one thing I can say is that when we're content, you better get ready for a shakeup.
Oh yeah.
Because you're going to go on a fire walk, because when you're content, you're not stretching yourself spiritually, and the universe is going to do it for you. Because if you're not stretching yourself, you're not learning. And I don't mean you personally, I'm just talking in general. That's a better way to put it. We're not learning and growing to the capacity we could or should be. So the universe will shake that up. as far as not knowing what you want, try different things. Try different things. You know, there will be things that come to your mind, and try them. And something will click. And it's okay to try things. Knowledge is power. And there's nothing wrong with trying things. And there's nothing wrong with trying something and failing. Because all that is it's a learning lesson for us. And it takes us one step closer to a success. You know, there's been a lot of things that I've tried and haven't, I wouldn't call them failures, but I haven't succeeded. And instead of being upset, it might be a learning process. Like maybe that's not the avenue I need to go down, or maybe it is, but I need to do something a little differently. And, you know, as far as the one thing that every one of you mentioned was the way things are now. And I've been getting a lot of that. And as a matter of fact, the phone calls that I had when I started this recording, they were about how things are right now. And we can let things be obstacles, or we can let them be motivators. And Jack can tell you that when COVID hit, you know, and again, not that I'm all that, but when COVID hit, I decided to use it as a platform to learn. And I immersed myself, Jack, what, 10 hours a day, every day, watching everything I could online, and especially on YouTube, about all this technology stuff. And the joke was I got a 5-year degree in like 3 weeks. But I learned so much that I'm utilizing every day now. And, you know, it's just, and it was just my time to use it as a motivator, because I'm telling you, I let things be obstacles too. Like I said, I'm not all that in a bag of chips and a cherry Coke. But it was just my time. It occurred to me to use it as a motivational period. And that's what, in my mind, we all need to focus on if we want to live the life we want and hit our goals, is we have to take obstacles and make them motivators. You know, I've had people say they wanted to start their own business, but they don't have the funds. Well, if you make obstacles motivators, doors open. Doors open. Jack can tell you there's been times where, you know, I've been like, I want to do this, but, you know, I just don't know about releasing X amount or whatever right now. And the next thing you know, somebody comes along and says, you know what? I love what you do. Here. And it appears. You know what I'm saying? We can't let things stop us. So does anybody have anything to add to that?
It's helpful. I mean, it's good to do self-work and to, you know, kind of figure out what you want. But I think sometimes too, it's good to have somebody to bounce stuff off of, even if it is kind of like a, you know, if it means you have to be vulnerable enough to tell somebody what you really want. Just like with you saying, you know, you would like to live in the country, but you don't know if you could be a homeowner. Well, maybe there's other options. Maybe there's a way you can live in the country and not have to own a home. Maybe there's places you could rent, or, you know, other ways to do that.
There may be a farmhouse. Like when I was growing up, we had a big ranch house, and there was another littler house behind that we rented out.
And the other thing I've been learning too is not to get so caught up in the how and the how am I going to get there kind of thing. Is just figure out what you want, and don't worry about how you're going to afford it, or how you're going to get to the country, or if you can if you're actually able to do it. Just what do you want? And that gets you started.
Exactly. So, should we talk about setting goals?
Sure.
Okay. So, this was a big one for me because I never wanted to set goals because my goals always seemed so big that I could just never reach them. I remember one time back in probably the 80s, I was making $500 a week and I wanted to make more. So I wanted to make $750 a week. But it seemed like such a big goal and I didn't know how I was going to get there that I just gave up, right? So what I came to learn is that if we take our big goal and we divide it into a whole bunch of smaller goals that are easy to achieve, all those little goals that we achieve add up to that big goal. Okay, so I'm going to share how I go about achieving my goals, and then you guys, hopefully we'll kick in with what you guys do, because just because I do this doesn't mean that it was going to work for everybody. So what I do is I take my big goal and I give it a time frame. Let's say a year. Okay. Then what I do is I say, okay, what are all the steps that I need to do to reach that goal? And I write them all down. Now I've got them all down. So now I can look at them and I can say, okay, this is the month of September. And of course, I would do this at the beginning of the month. This is the month of September. In this month, what am I going to achieve off of this list? And I will take those things and I'll write them on my monthly goal. Then I'll look at the monthly goal and I'll say, okay, what am I going to achieve this week? And I write down the weekly goal. Then what I say is, okay, off of this, what can I achieve on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday? So this way, when I wake up on Monday, I know what I need to accomplish that day. And I try not to make it something so big that I can't do it. And if I don't get it done, then it goes to Tuesday along with what was already for Tuesday. And by the end of the month, I've generally gotten all those things accomplished. So then the next month, which would be October, I would look at that master steps that I need to take, and I would take some of those off and put them onto October, break them down into weeks, and break them down into days. And, sometimes it might just be I need to make a bunch of phone calls to get information. Or I may need to, if it's starting a business, I may need to file for a business license. Or I may need to do this or that. But by taking them and making them into smaller steps, I've found works for me. What works for you guys?
I've pretty much received all the things that I have hoped to receive. Only after, I'd say, realizing that in order to manifest something, that you can't just let it go off to the universe and sit around and wait for it to happen, that you actually got to put one foot in front of the other and move in the direction of your focus. It works really good. I find if I can see it in my mind's eye, if I can say it out loud, if I can believe it, then I'll receive it. And I give thanks ahead of time for prayers that are already answered. So it's just a fact. And I don't set a goal, like you say, that is a huge over the top goal. I always think what maybe a little bit more out of my comfort zone than what I would just do normally as fitting it into my chores, you know. But eventually, like I say, putting it out to the universe, I think is huge. You know, I believe in quantum physics. I believe everything is energy connected. Send that ripple effect out and it will come back. And if you're supposed to receive it or not, if it doesn't come back in a reasonable amount of time and you're focusing on that and moving forward, then you have to sit back and take that time to reassess and see if maybe it's not in your best interest and maybe you should try something else.
You know, that's something you said there struck me. And Tom Hopkins, I believe it was, if I remember correctly, and Master of the Art of Selling Anything, said that you should pick goals that scare you a little and excite you a lot.
Right.
So, you know, in other words, outside of that comfort zone, it scares you a little, but it excites you a lot.
I say
Anyone else?
spirit has a sense of kicking me out of my comfort zone. And at first I used to go kicking and screaming and say, no, what the heck's going on? I can't do this. Da, 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 da. Now when it happens, I say, all right, here we go. It's another adventure. You know, it's really how you think about it. And the things that bring you, that scare you the most, that you accomplish, bring you the greatest reward of feeling empowered for whatever that is.
I agree. My famous thing is, okay, we're going on Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
Exactly. And here we go.
1, 2, 3, wee!
Yep. No doubt.
Anyone else? Well, I'm going to add to that we also have the ability to manifest. And one of my first mentors told me, you know, you can hire the angels. I said, what? You can hire the angels. I'm thinking, how do I hire the angels? How am I going to pay the angel? You know? And, you know, it was like, listen, you can manifest. You know, when I say hiring the angels, I'm talking about manifesting. And one thing I do, I don't know if you guys can see it. So there's a bunch of candles inside this metal thing, because that way when I leave the house, I don't have to worry about turning them off. I will get, do I have any right here? Yes, I do. I will get these at the dollar store. You know, just typical white, all white candle. And I'll take a Sharpie and I'll write on it. And I encourage you to be very specific. Don't leave anything for chance.
Yep.
Because the universe has a sense of humor you may not like.
Mm-hmm.
Be very specific and pray and light it. And what I do is I will keep it going for a month. I'll buy a case of them. It's $12. And as one's getting low, I mean, like really like down here low, I'll start the next one. Or if it's late at night or I'm going to be gone all day, if it gets, you know, within a ½ inch, I'll light the next one. And I keep it going for a month. And Jack, do you see it work for me?
Yes, ma'am.
And, you know, I always write a thank you. I don't just ask for something
That's
without,
for sure.
you know, a thank you.
Now, I've done it, but I can't do it for 30 days.
Yeah, you can.
I don't want to do it for 30 days.
Then you don't want it bad enough, Jack.
I don't feel it's necessary to do it for 30 days.
It's probably not that it's necessary.
Just my,
Um,
just like I won't burn them nonstop like you do either.
yeah, well, it's what works for you. For me, I do it for 30 days because I feel that it keeps building that energy. It keeps, in my mind, it just keeps building and making it stronger and stronger. I keep them burning because to me that it keeps the energy going. It's not like my way is the only way. There's a lot of different ways to do it. But if you're going to leave them burning, I suggest you get some sort of metal, whether it's a big metal pot or whatever. And that way you don't have to worry about leaving in, a possible fire. Because I have had the glass crack once or twice before. It wasn't a fire issue, but it was a wax issue had it not been in the metal. That I wouldn't want to deal with. Just saying. Anybody else have anything they want to add? Look at Eve is laughing. She's just picturing it in her head. It's not pretty. It's just not. The only nice thing is this wax is easier to clean up than some others. But yeah, it's not pretty.
Or you can amplify your dreams and everything with your prayers with the crystals too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Put that energy back out there to keep the energy moving.
We, Tammy and I both have plenty of them.
Now, yeah, I know. You said you have them in your pillow.
Some
I
people,
do.
She does. Do you have them in your bedroom, or do you just keep certain ones in your bedroom, like when you want some stuff?
Oh, I've got them everywhere. The guest bedroom, anybody that sleeps in the guest bedroom, there's so many boxes of stones and crystals pushed underneath the bed that they'd be vibrating all night long. Yeah, they're everywhere. My house is fully charged when you walk in.
I feel bad for anybody that wants to have a pillow fight with me because my pillow will knock them out. I've got a big brick of selenite and I've got all these, I mean, they're not little. I have all these stones and people are like, how do you sleep with them? I'm like, I don't have a problem. I just don't. But yeah, if I ever had a pillow fight with somebody, I'd feel bad for them.
Oh yeah.
Probably be an emergency room visit.
My daughter got me an eye pillow that actually is filled with crushed quartz crystals and lavender.
Oh,
and boy, when you put that on your eyes, it is like ice cold. It feels so great.
Shush up, you're gonna have to send me a link to that.
Yeah, it's very cool, and it's for healing the eyes, and I have macular degeneration, so yeah, I put that on my eyes and it's like heaven.
You're gonna have to send me a link for that. I'm gonna have to get that.
I'll find out what it is. I know she ordered them online, so.
Please, yes, please. So does anybody have anything else that they would like to add, Gail? Anybody?
Gail's
No?
just creating. She's
She's
arting.
doing some sort of craft.
She's arting.
I am trying to finish a picture. So I am also very content of where I am. I feel like, for me at least, when I got to a certain age, I was just like, you know what? I don't care what other people say. I don't care what other people think. It took a long time to get there, right? I'm 52, so it took a long time to get there. But I don't care about that stuff anymore. And I've never been a materialistic person, so I've never needed a whole lot. Thank goodness, because up until recently, I never had a really good job where I made a bunch of money. So I'm just a simple person. But I will tell you that I'm not grown up enough to set goals. I get up and I go to work and I take care of my responsibilities. I take care of I don't have to take care of my son. He's 28, but you know, if he needs help, I help him. I help my family. But I don't, I'm afraid to set goals. And so I just go through my day and I'm happy, and I'm happy to make my pictures, and I'm happy to share them with other people and make them happy. And so I guess I'm not grown up enough to do that stuff that you guys do, but I like to hear it.
Well, I
And I
have
like to,
done a lot of it myself, so I don't fall into the grown-up category yet.
'cause,
You know,
yeah.
I don't know that I would call it the grown-up category. Because maybe what you're doing is your goal.
Well, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe it is your goal. Just because we do that doesn't mean that that's right for everybody.
No, and you might be where you're supposed to be right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the shake-up thing, if you get too, I know complacent isn't the word that you use, but you know, too comfortable. I've had that. I've had units come and go, how's that? So I mean, I get that, but I don't have, you know, when I've gone to job interviews and they're like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I'm like, I hope to, you know, retire from this job in 100 years or whatever it is, right? I don't have a 5-year goal, and I've been told that that's a bad thing, and so that's why I'm saying I'm not a grown up. You know, I just want to be happy, and I want to help other people to be happy, and that's it, you know. So I don't need
Yes.
CEO or any of that, you know. Just
I'm 62 and I'm not grown up either. I want to know when you're going to wear house coats and fluffy slippers and slip through the house, you know?
Well, I can tell y'all, I'm going to be a Jeffrey Giraffe kid until I die.
nice.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't
I still
intend to.
climb trees.
Yeah, I don't intend to ever grow up because I feel that growing up is boring.
Okay.
You know, and what I'm going to tell you is that, you know, people back in, let's say, the 1950s, maybe even the 60s, probably a lot of them didn't have a whole lot of goals either. You know, they got a job, they went to work, they worked every day, they were happy, you know, they went home, and maybe that's where you know, the kind of where you fit in. And there's
Right.
nothing wrong with that if it makes you happy.
Okay, good. I've always worried. I've always worried because I mean that's a job interview question. So apparently you're supposed to have a plan.
So
don't
my
know.
plan,
That's my plan. 5 years from now, I'd like to still be alive, right?
so my plan, my plan goes beyond 5 years. I'd like to be an employee here for, you know, all the way through retirement.
Right.
There's a plan.
Yeah.
You know, I'd like to be an employee here and work my way
Right.
up.
And I've said that. And when I was at a job when they first asked me that question, I was completely taken aback. Right? How old was I? In my 30s. I didn't know that was something you were supposed to do. I thought, like you said, in the 50s and 60s, you're supposed to get a job and stay at the job forever and then retire. And that's, you know, that's what you're supposed to do. And so that's just always what I thought.
Yep,
And so
that's
it's just,
what it was.
And let me tell you another secret. Job interviews. If you're too aggressive in your plan, sometimes they don't want you because they're afraid you're going to be working to try to get their job.
right.
That, yeah, I used to not get hired because everybody was for sure that, you know, I was going to be hunting for their job. And no, I'm going to help you climb up the ladder so then I can have your job.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't want your
Yeah.
job. I want you to climb up and then I'll move into your spot. So
Okay.
we help each other go up. But yeah, there's, don't feel like there's anything wrong with you because you don't have, those goals. I have a burning desire to achieve goals, which is why I do what I do.
Yes, you
If
are
I
very
didn't,
goal oriented.
what's
Mhm.
that?
You are a very goal oriented person.
Right.
Yeah, that's just your
But,
personality.
but not everybody has to be.
Okay.
It's the most important thing is that you're happy. See, I'm not happy if I'm not achieving goals,
Okay.
but if you're happy, then you're right where you should be.
Oh, good. Oh, good. I've always seen that right from now for like 20 years. But since then, when I went to that interview and he asked me about my 5-year goal, and then he hired me, and he had me write down a 5-year goal. And I'm like, well, tell me what it is. Tell me, what should I write down? He says, well, what do you want to do? I said, well, I don't know. He says, you don't know, you don't, right? And so we had this really long conversation, and then he eventually, I listened and listened and listened, and I decided, all right, I know what you want. And so I wrote down what he wanted to hear, and that made him happy. And then I was supposed to decide how to get to that goal. And I only ended up staying at that company for like 3 years before I moved on. But ever since then, I thought, well, see, I'm not a grown-up because I don't have a goal. I don't have a 5-year plan. I don't have a 10-year plan. I'm like, go to work, pay my bills, help my family, and be happy. That's all I need to do.
And I get it. I didn't go to college when I was young. Why didn't I? I didn't know what I wanted to be. So why was I going to go to college for something I didn't know what I wanted to be? And I paid attention enough to see all these grown-ups around me that had gone to college, got a degree, were in a job they hated, but now they felt like they were stuck there, which again, they put an obstacle there themselves, but they felt they were stuck there because, they got this degree and, what else are they going to do? Well, they could have gone back to school while they were working. But yeah, that's why I didn't go when I was young, when I just graduated high school, because I hadn't the slightest clue what I wanted to do. And I just kind of let my life unfold for me.
Okay.
And, if you're good with that, then don't let anybody tell you different. Just like I said at the beginning, don't let anybody tell you what you're doing isn't right. Don't let anybody tell you what you should be doing instead of what you're doing. Don't let anybody tell you you're not grown up because you don't have goals. If you're happy, that's the most important thing in my mind.
Good.
In my mind. Because you only have one life and it's short. And how many people go through their life not being happy? So what I'm going to tell you from my perspective is you've achieved something most people haven't. And some people never do. I think that's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think it's huge.
Yeah.
That's a huge accomplishment. And so what I'm going to encourage you to do so that you see that is I want you to start listening to people when they talk. And I want you to listen to how many people complain.
Okay.
And then you're going to realize how many people out there are not happy and that you are. And you're going to realize how much you've accomplished.
Like you said, setting goals that are way too high too can bring a lot of sadness to people and a lot of aggravation and a lot of frustration. And if people are setting goals that are just too high to achieve, they're setting themselves up to be sad in the rest of their life.
Or if they're setting their goals based strictly on material.
Oh, for sure.
We can all go shopping and we're happy.
Not really. I hate to shop.
Crystal shopping.
Well,
Oh, yes. But like when you say
Come
shop, I
on.
think grocery shop and clothes shopping. Those are my two most things I hate the most.
oh no, honey, there's all kinds of shopping. There's car shopping. There's all kinds.
Oh, no.
But let's see, we go and we do shopping that we like, and we come home with whatever it is, and we're all happy. It's a Band-Aid. It's a Band-Aid because that's only going to bring happiness for a certain period of time. And then you're going to want to go shopping again. You know, if you put too much emphasis on material. You know, being happy with who you are and what you are and being comfortable in your own skin, to me, is worth its weight in gold. You know, that to me, that's really being spiritual. So just my thoughts. So I think we've covered a lot. Anybody else have anything to add? No? Nobody? Jack. You got anything, Jack?
Make something up, Jack.
You don't have to, Jack.
I
I'm
have a
just
goal. I have a new goal.
What?
Show them my new goal. Did they see my new goal? It's sitting
sure?
beside you.
What's that?
It's sitting beside you.
It's sitting beside me?
Yeah, Sunny.
Oh, Sunny's over there, her new unicycle.
Oh, you're riding a unicycle?
Not yet.
It's here.
Those
It's
are
gotta
so
get
cool.
It's got to get shipped to her. Yeah, because I got Stanley and Jack, I saw one on the marketplace for $30. It was basically brand new. So I told her, and it was a color she wanted and everything. So I went and I picked it up for her.
There was a school by us growing up that they had a unicycle team, and they were riding unicycles that were like 12 feet in the air.
Yeah, that's
They had
crazy.
to get on the top of a building in order to get on them, and they
I
would
know.
ride them in the parades, and they do all kinds of formations and stuff. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, no. But they have extreme unicycling. They have mountain biking on unicycles and whatnot. It's really an interesting thing. So we both decided that we were going to learn.
Well, I wasn't going to. You were.
Well, you are now. See, that's a goal, Jack.
You said that to me, and I was like, "Oh, look how pretty!" Pretty.
All right. Well,
$30. Yeah, I'll take it.
You know, put cards in the spokes.
didn't I just say that to you? I said we should put the things in the spokes where when you go, it goes.
Click, 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 click. Yeah.
I told her we need to get like a wireless Bluetooth speaker and attach it to the stem of the mic and have a horn on our phone that we can hit as we're going down the street. See, goals. They don't have to be big goals. They could just be goals that make you smile.
Although I think that's kind of a big goal. It feels kind of big to me. Oh.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, with that, I think we'll say goodnight to everybody. And Jack and I will keep you posted on the unicycling.
Awesome.
You may see
On
us.
video.
Yeah, you may
Thanks,
see
guys.
us doing some mountain biking.
How funny. I want to see it.
Or you just want to see us break our necks.
Oh, no, 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 no.
The goal is to stay out of the hospital.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
All right, everybody, have a great night. And again, if you got any value out of this, please, we encourage you to hit subscribe and the bell. And if you know anybody else that might find value in this, please feel free to share it with them. That's what it's all about. Wish you all a good night. Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Good night.
Thank you.